I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. John 10:11, New Living Translation. Before I tell you this next story, I need to give you a little warning. If you know my family, do not ask my brother about this story. You see, I'm telling you the way I remember it. He remembers it very differently. Of course, I'm sure that my recollection of the story is the correct one and his is wrong, but he has the same feeling that his is right and mine is wrong. So, if my memory is right, then what I'm telling you is a true story with a powerful illustration. And if his memory is right, then I guess what I'm telling you is a parable that I made up. And it still has a wonderful lesson for us. Either way, I hope it's a blessing to you. It's a good thing that my brother was going slowly, my brother Ralph, as I followed him home from church that Sabbath. He pulled into his driveway and started down his long gravel driveway when suddenly he slammed on his brakes, and I was right behind him but going slowly and didn't run into him. Suddenly doors flew open on his van and everybody started jumping out and rushing toward the fence at the side of the driveway. My young nephew, Andrew, jumped right over the fence and ran down the hill yelling, "Daddy, Daddy, it's Spaghetti Legs! Daddy, it's Spaghetti Legs!" Now, I knew about Spaghetti Legs. She was a sheep. That's not her, but she was a sheep. Sheep are sheep, right? She had been abandoned by her mother, apparently, and Andrew found her on one of his early morning rounds out in the field, almost dead, the poor baby lamb that had just been born. He tried to help her stand up, but her legs were all wobbly, just like limp spaghetti, and that's how she got her name, Spaghetti Legs. A few minutes later, Andrew had stood at the door to the kitchen, holding the poor little lamb in his arms, his big eyes pleading with his mother. "Okay," she had sighed. "You can keep her in the kitchen for a few days, but you'll have to feed her and clean her. I don't have time." Faithfully, Andrew had gotten up during the night and fed Spaghetti Legs her bottle, and with those bottles all through the night for a few nights, Spaghetti Legs started getting stronger. In fact, she got strong enough to get out of her box in the kitchen. At that point, Andrew's mother said, "Nope, out of here. No sheep loose in my kitchen leaving its little things all over the floor." Well, Andrew even moved out to the barn with Spaghetti Legs for a few nights to be sure that he was there when it was time for her to eat. And for the rest of the spring, the little boy and the little lamb were almost inseparable. But now my mind snapped back to the present, because obviously Spaghetti Legs must be in trouble. That was what all the fuss was about. So I got out and ran to the fence too to look down and see what the matter was. Sure enough, there lay little Spaghetti Legs on her side, breathing heavily. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and every few seconds she would kind of halfway lift her head and shake all over and go, "Bah!" Oh no, I thought, convulsions. I'd seen things like that in animals before. It looked to me like Spaghetti Legs was about to die. But then Andrew gave a little excited whoop and leaped toward Spaghetti Legs. And as I looked more closely, I saw that he was grabbing at her wool, it looked like. And no, it wasn't her wool. He was grabbing at something in her wool. it was a cane of a wild rose bush. Somehow, one of those canes had gotten snagged in her wool, and as the thorn dug into her back and Spaghetti Legs had wiggled around, another one had gotten in, and another, until there were 4 or 5 of them crisscrossed across her back, and every time she moved, they cinched her down closer to the ground until all she could do was lay there and bah. She would have died if nobody had come along. There was no way she could get out. Now Andrew was using his bare hands to remove those brambles, and any of you that have worked with rose bushes know the thorns. They tore into his skin, and blood drops were on his hands and arms. But he finally accomplished his mission. Spaghetti Legs was free. I watched with a smile as the lamb and Andrew sprinted up the hill toward the fence, tears still drying on Andrew's cheeks, when he suddenly stopped and impulsively threw his arms around the neck of that little lamb and said, "Spaghetti Legs, I love you, and I'm glad you're free." To his old uncle standing there at the fence, it was one of the most powerful illustrations of the gospel I have ever seen. Andrew, that little shepherd, didn't respond the way I sometimes do. He didn't stick his bloody hands in front of the little lamb's nose and say, "Look at you, you bad little sheep. Look what you did to me. Look what you made me do. Don't you ever go near those old bushes again, or I'll just leave you there." No, Andrew didn't mention his hands at all. Instead, he rejoiced that his sheep, the one he loved so much, was free, no matter the cost. Dear Jesus, thank you for sticking your hands into my thorny life and rescuing me. In your name I pray. Amen.